Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan, the voice behind ThatKaitoDan, and welcome to my review for RWBY Volume 4 Chapter 5, Menagerie. Before we begin, let me remind you that this review does contain not just opinions, but possible spoilers too, so watch the episode first, then check this out. So after some interesting family moments with the Xiaolongs and the Branwins last episode, and the show taking a Thanksgiving pit stop to hear more about the faunus, we're stepping foot into more faunus focused dealings with Blake and Sun. As we're heading towards the halfway mark for the volume, can RWBY follow on after one of its highlight episodes, or was our first time in Menagerie a shaky first step? Let's find out. The faunus pair of Blake and Sun have finally reached terra firma and made it to Blake's home of Menagerie, which, right off the bat, definitely deserves some massive praising to the team working on the visuals in both the animation and the design departments. This place looks beautiful, from the active scene of the marketplace to the various homes and woodlands. The entire area we later learn is called Kuo-Kuana is very pleasing to the eye, full of life and colour, and giving me some major vibes to the landscapes found in Pokemon Sun and Moon, as well as The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. It's got to be one of the most widely populated villages that we've seen, and yet it's also packed with so many differing models as well for the background lot. Not just in terms of the various types of faunus that we see, but the hair, the clothes, all of it. We even see some reptilian grim for the first time, with scales on their faces as a different variant to having a tail. Vast amounts of unique models all present here in this energetic and welcoming environment. Easily one of my favourite locations in the show. Anyway, Kuo-Kuana has quite the hustle and bustle to it compared to other villages. Though Sun is more comfy it seems with more space and less people. He does still like what he's seeing though, but this paradise, of course, isn't one with the best history or current emotions connected to it. Remember that this was only given to the faunus race post the Great War after all their abuse, which sadly lasts even to this day, and even then it's hardly the finest property on the market, with the landmass apparently being 2/3 desert beyond the mountain range barrier, and according to Blake, it's home to very dangerous Grim. So while Sun sees this as wasted space that could be used like back in Vacuo, it's easier said than done. Like a lot of things here and in the world, the faunus just have to make do with what they got. Time though to check in on the folks. At the biggest house slap right dab in the middle of the village. Oh yeah, the Belladonnas aren't any small time faces in town. They pretty much run the place. Sun takes this new information about as well as expected. Casa Belladonna is quite the imposing sight, though it's the realization of it being some time since she last saw her folks that's got Blake a little nervy at first. I wonder when it was that she last saw them. Could it have been after she left the White Fang and before heading to Beacon? Or maybe even earlier? Still, it is time to reunite, and first up at the door is Mama Belladonna, Kali, which in Sanskrit means she who is black. And she could also refer to the Hindu goddess of death. Kali is played by Tara Platt, the wife of Yuri Lowenthal, who currently plays Mercury Black. Tara has played in the past the likes of Vert from the Hyperdimension Neptunia series, Mitsuru Kirijo from the Persona series, and Tamari from the Naruto series. As you'd expect, Kali shares a warm embrace with her daughter, no doubt fretting all this time after what happened with Vale and it having been so long. As we hear next up from Papa Belladonna, Gira, the burliest looking guy we've seen in the show so far for sure, who's played by Kent Williams, the man behind roles such as Sid Barrett from Soul Eater, Dr. Gero from the world of Dragon Ball, and Father from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And yes, Gira is no doubt the RWBY representative for Bagheera, the widely respected Black Panther figurehead in the world of the Jungle Book. Both of Blake's parents were worried for their daughter after what happened to Beacon, and with the CCT being all butchered, there was no way to contact each other, but they are reunited at long last, with Sun along for the ride, which gives Gira a chance to grill Sun and let the poor monkey boy dig himself into a hole regarding his relationship with Blake. Even if he did make himself look a little bit silly, at least Kali likes him already. I guess she's not just a cat faunus, but a cougar too. Sorry. Anyway, before we get more family bonding time, Gira has a meeting that he forgot, and the guests have arrived. From the White Fang. Of course, Blake and Sun are stunned about this, and even though Blake wants nothing to do with the Fang right now, with them literally at her doorstep, she has to see what's going on. Thankfully though, it's not Adam or the current leader Sierra Khan, but it's actually the two fox faunuses that we've seen in the opening, Corsac and Fennec Albane. Both the names of different types of foxes. The one with the tail is Corsac, played by Derek Mears, who is actually the current person behind the iconic hockey mask of Jason from the Friday the 13th movie franchise, though he also played Ruben Lozano from Rooster Teeth's other giant series, Red vs. Blue. His twin with the foxes is played by Mike McFarland, who has been in the past Jean Kirsten from Attack on Titan, Gene Havoc from the Fullmetal Alchemist series, and Master Roshi from the Dragon Ball franchise. The religious-looking pair are here as Menagerie's White Fang representatives, which already rings some alarm bells, but as to why they are conversing with Gira, well, it's not just the fact that he's the chieftain of Menagerie. He's also the former high leader of the White Fang, leading the faction's more peaceful days before Sierra Khan took over and led the group into its more infamous actions. At least we get now why Blake said in the past that she was practically born into the White Fang. She's a former high leader's daughter. All of this just adds up to why I think Gira's role actually fits pretty well. Bagheera was born in a menagerie, a collection of captive animals, and he was second only to the tiger Shere Khan, who we can assume is the inspiration for Sierra Khan. Back on track, and it's only now that Gira hears about his former group's involvement in Vel's defeat, though the Albane pair argue that it's not the actions of the Fang as a whole, but it's rather the Vel branch splintering off into its own group, under the command of Adam. These two are here now to inform Gira of the group's High Council, forming plans to act against Adam's supposed splinter group, which Gira is all for going over, but for now he just wants to spend some time with his daughter. He can advise on things another time. The two messengers accept and even show respect to Blake and comment on her desertion from the group. Seems she carried some reputation within the group at least, though I'm sure some of that did come from her family ties as well. But even though the two assume Blake is retiring from the fight for equality, we all know that's not the case. She's just not wanting to do so under the White Fang banner, and with their measures. Her drive is far from dead. One final interesting element from the Foxes now, before they exit, a mention of someone by the name of Ilya, who seems to be someone having ties to Blake during her Fang days. Perhaps another friend she made during that period. Given the lack of any past mention, I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps Blake wasn't fond of her, but Ilya was of the cat girl, thus why leaving her wasn't so much of a weight on his shoulders as it was regarding Adam. Too early to say now of course, but it is interesting that there's another character in terms of Blake's story regarding the White Fang. For now though, the Albanes depart, as does Blake, no doubt pissed that the Fangs still haunt her even at home. Sun meanwhile gets the blunt disapproval from Gira. Ouch. As for the Albanes, their allegiance comes clearer as they reveal their intentions to contact Adam about their new discovery in Menagerie with Blake. As if their presence in the opening wasn't enough to cement it, these two are in cahoots with Adam, and now it's only a matter of time before Blake and Adam clash once again, only this time on faunus turf. Though I wonder if the comment about the splinter group is actually true, and Adam really is leading his own force beyond the will of Sierra Khan. It could explain why Salem sent in Hazel to meet with the Fang's leader to try and convince them to follow Adam into working the Wicked Witch's orders. And if this is the case, though this is just a theory, we could end up seeing three sides regarding faunus actions for equality or dominance in the world. 1. The peaceful types who want equality, like Blake. 2. The White Fang, who maybe can still see equality as an option, but is far more aggressive than in the past. And 3. The far more vicious members under Adam's call, who seek faunus claiming total vengeance and power over the humans, as well as working alongside Salem for her goals. And as if that last bit wasn't foreboding enough, we end the episode heading back to the cute waitress in Higginbana, getting queried by a ruby-seeking Tyrion. Oh boy. Now, to be honest, this wasn't the most meaty of episodes. The episode as a whole only had about 10ish minutes worth of content, and a lot of that was setup and exploration, not so much story progression. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, and it's still better than a lot of Volume 1 episode runtimes, plus I still love this episode. The bulk of this episode is the stable exploration through its brand new location and the 2 new family members, and it was still entertaining, though I would have liked more of it. Menagerie, as I said before, is fantastically well designed and packed with a diverse and lively populace, and it was crafted wisely in regards to the land's past and role within the faunus narrative, alongside the first proper looks of some characters which showed off some cool attires and the attitudes they contain. Blake's parents are quite loving and already have some nice quirks to them, which add to a solid family foundation. Gira, the proud but stoic figurehead of the family and of the town, and one with a solid pride and respected air to him that fits his role as chieftain and former white Fang leader, where Carly is not as blunt as her husband, but is as equally considerate, caring, and even charming. Yeah, it's kinda tropey to have the mom approve son but the dad doesn't element. It did make me laugh though, so it's hardly a poor use of the trope. It's an okay start with exploring the parents, but it's one that made me smile, and I hope to enjoy more of their scenes. Sun and Blake also had some fun interactions together, especially playing in the roles that I expected to see, with Sun filling in for us viewers as the curious outsider to this brand new environment that Blake, being a native, does give us some insight on, while still mixing in Sun's more aloof, positive and hopeful nature against Blake's more grounded and somber tones, especially in regards to her people. I was surprised to see the Albanes tied into the Blake arc, by the way, as going off their placement in the opening, I assumed they would factor into Yang's current arc, but I do like how they're presented, as sort of monk-like given their attire and their gestures, which also time nicely in tune with each other, giving off that vibe of a pair that is expertly in sync with the other. A simple look between them holding a deeper conversation that comes with understanding the other's mindset. Should make for an intriguing duo to see more of in the future. And yes, the double dose of cute emotive cat ears and Sun's more comical expressions were quite entertaining. And the last 2 talking points with the Albanes hinting at Adam's future appearance and Tyrion getting closer to RWBY does give the episode some meat to it at the end. The voice acting praise of the episode has some very strong contenders, especially from the newest editions, but I'll give it once more to Aaron, who went through the most varied emotions and actually performed them quite well, given her character is still rather reclusive when it comes to expressing her honest feelings. So final opinion on the episode? Well, while it did go by quick, and it could have perhaps done with more time with the Belladonnas or exploring Menagerie or something else to give the episode a bit more punch to it, overall I do still call it a decent watch, that at the very least helped establish this key new location and some new dynamics, before we're all thrown back into the thick of whatever is on the horizon. But of course, those are just my thoughts, and it's time to remind you that you should share yours in the comments down below. Was our first walk through Blake's home a positive one for you, or did you feel there was more to offer? Let me know in the comments down below, and like and fave the video too if you want to. Plus, definitely make sure you click on that subscribe button and the bell to get all my uploads as they come out, as sadly YouTube's system is getting really messed up lately, as you may have heard from a lot of other YouTubers lately. In fact, make sure you do the same for all of your subscribers, not just me. Anyway, hey, let's keep positive. It's the halfway point of the volume next week, and Christmas is coming soon too. I'll see you all next time though, so as ever, have a good day or good night, and peace out.